Lots of people hate that you can buy every crafting material from vendors. People say it kills the economy. I think it can actually stabilize it. To summarize their point of view, players tend to think that vendor access removes scarcity. They say that it kills trading and makes gathering pointless. They say that it disincentivizes trading. And honestly, those are valid points and legitimate concerns. But I think the benefits outweigh the negatives. Vendor prices create a natural limit. Players can't pump prices to absurd levels because the vendor undercuts them. They also can't crash a market past the vendor sellback value. The result, player-driven scams, spikes, and manipulation gets massively reduced. Kinda make an example of this, we can look at bread. The low price of bread is 66 copper. The high price is 200 copper. So, in the player trading market, bread should never be above 200 copper. But if it is, players can mass buy bread from Kevin and sell it to the players who are trying to buy it over 200 copper and make a profit. Bread also, in theory, will never fall below 66 copper. Because if it does, then people can buy the bread from the players at less than 66 copper and sell it to the vendor for 66 copper and make a profit there. Thus, basically completely invalidating pump and dump schemes and other sorts of manipulation in a soft lock kind of way, rather than using something like trading limits in the old school RuneScape Grand Exchange. That's one of the methods they use to counter such pump and dump schemes. This happens naturally in Brighter Shores because of the vendor stock. Another benefit to having vendors sell everything is that when you're buying from a vendor, with a few exceptions, you can only buy 24 items at a time. The exceptions being venture items, but we'll ignore those. If someone wants to mass craft or mass buy, they either have to spend sometimes literal hours running from the vendor to the nearest storage rift to build up the bulk that they need for mass crafting. And this actually opens up another avenue where players can jump in and fill a need. If someone wants to buy 10,000 bread for bacon sandwiches, then the player who's willing to run and bank that 10,000 bread, trade directly to another player, and mark up the bulk price for the convenience. This creates a runner style market that would be significantly less apparent if you couldn't just buy everything from vendors. It creates a niche for bulk buyers who farm vendors as a job. can mark up resales, but not to insane levels, thanks to point number 1. This actually introduces a new loop. Time to convenience to markup. It adds nuance and makes actual really cool like game design theory. Andrew has thought this out. Fen Research has thought this out. It's not their first rodeo. Also, as my third point, this is a gold sink. Buying from vendors removes gold from circulation. Player-to-player trading does not. A healthy MMO economy needs gold sinks, or inflation gets ridiculous. You can look at examples like RuneScape 3, or I'm pretty sure Black Desert Online has pretty bad inflation. There are many games where inflation runs rampant. Vendor Shores quietly keeps gold value stable. This is a long-term benefit of the game. Once again, this isn't the first time Fen Research has done this sort of stuff. They are thinking of the long game, how to make it sustainable for years to come. Systems like this don't erase player economy. They tame its worst impulses. Vendors create consistency, players create efficiency and convenience. Two systems support each other instead of competing. Now, is there some sort of middle ground that could be available? Sure. What that is, I don't know. Maybe have vendors set to a limited stock so that you can't just buy a million of whatever you need and have it on like a timed restock thing. This might be an improvement, but it's really hard to say. I think where we're at with how the vendors are and the supplies are managed, it's in a really good spot. Also, you need the levels to buy the items from the vendor. If we look at bacon instead of bread in this case, in order to buy the appetizing bacon, you need level 12 chef. So you still need to train the skill in order to be able to buy the item. So gathering isn't really pointless. With all these new storage rifts around that have been added, if you're training the gathering skill, in an example we'll use like foraging for potatoes. If you're foraging potatoes to train your foraging level, then why not just bank them? It'll save you time running to the vendor. Or you can sell them later. So yeah, vendor shores might look like it breaks the economy at first glance or removes some aspects of it. And like I said in the intro, that's a fair statement to make. I just believe that there are more pros than cons. From where I'm sitting, it keeps the whole world from going full crypto exchange meltdown mode. It's a good way to keep economy stable, and it creates its own sort of jobs, like running materials. Anyways, I think that's about all I have to say about that.